Okay, so Heather, do you have your bilateral music playing?
Yes.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, and you're comfortable? You feel good where you're at?
Yep.
Awesome. Do you have blanket and tissues, all the things that you need?
Tissues are right here, ready to go.
Just in case, because not everybody cries, but sometimes that is how emotion expresses itself. So it's always good to be prepared, especially if you get like the snotty nose and all of that. Always good. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you and I have talked a little bit beforehand, but I wanted to just kind of check in with you and see what it is that you feel like you want to work on today or what you want to focus on.
One thing that I have struggled with is I want to wake up earlier than my kids so that I can have an opportunity to work out.
Oh,
Because if it doesn't happen in the morning, it just doesn't happen. And this is something that I have struggled with my whole life, getting up early.
mm-hmm.
But now to get up early and have to put in effort,
Right.
physical effort and energy, it's something that I want to do, but I struggle every morning getting to that point. Six
Yes.
o'clock comes around and I'm like, I'm tired. I'm going to sleep a little bit longer. And then
Mhm.
7 o'clock and my kids are in the room ready to go.
Yeah, totally. So when you wake up and you kind of decide like, I think I'm just going to sleep in, and you get into your day, when you remember that you had wanted to work out and didn't, what are some of the thoughts that kind of come up for you?
Mostly negative. I feel disappointed
Yeah.
and guilty. And I don't know if I feel angry with myself. It's not
Mm.
really self hatred, but it's just a disappointment that I had something that I wanted to do,
Yeah.
um, but I made a different choice that took away from that. And I think in thinking about that, it's a choice. And now I'm disappointed that that was the choice I made to sleep in
Mhm.
longer, as
Yeah.
opposed to the choice of, hey, maybe going to bed a little bit earlier. And so I'm not sure why I can't get past that, just going to bed a little bit earlier so I can wake up a little bit earlier. I so desperately want that time to myself at night once the kids have gone to bed, that I will just stay up late to just scroll Facebook or
Right.
do whatever I spend hours after I put them to bed doing.
Yeah.
And I think if I know that going to bed a little earlier makes it easier to wake up earlier,
Hmm.
but I just can't, for some reason I'm not pushing past that right now. Even
Yeah.
though I know I want to do that, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Oh, I hear that all the time. Like, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I just can't seem to do it.
Right.
And there's just that real disconnect. And as you think about that and just like the disappointment that you feel for yourself, do you notice anything in your body in response to that?
I think when I'm thinking about it, I feel it like really in my gut. And I don't know if it's because that's really what has changed the most in my body since having kids. And that's a lot of why I want to be working out. So I don't know if that's, I mean, I feel that though, that's where I'm putting it, is in my gut.
Yeah. Yeah. Does that, if we were to put that feeling in your gut on a scale of like 0 to 10, where would you think you would put it? 0 being, I don't really notice it that much. 10 being like, this is as intense as it gets.
In the moment when I'm thinking about it and I'm feeling that disappointment, probably a 7.
Yeah. It's a really
And
hard
it
one.
doesn't last long because I'm moving on to something else that's happening in the day.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. So since that is such a high, like that's a high energy vibration for you, like that's 7. I think the best thing we can do to work with that right now would be to come at it from a more grounded place. And so we'll use a resource for that today. Does that sound
Okay.
okay?
Sure.
Great. And you and I have talked through resource before.
Hmm.
You know what it is. So I'll explain a little bit more as we kind of do the setup for it. But
Okay.
yeah, that's what we'll kind of do. So just kind of start to sink into your body and just like noticing, just like feeling supported by the place that you're sitting, just starting to kind of do like a little scan of your body, starting with your head, working your way down to your feet. And just see if there's a place in your body that feels a little bit more grounded than that spot that's in your gut. Maybe it feels more supportive. Maybe it feels heavy. Do you have a place that you find?
Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah.
would you find?
Just sitting more on my tailbone, maybe not my tailbone, but sitting all the way back, relaxing my hips a little bit.
Yeah. I was going to say the butt is usually the,
Mm-hmm.
the most common spot just because it is
Right.
what we're sitting on. So it feels heavy and grounded and supported. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Okay, so I just want you to notice that. And I just want you to see if you can even maybe let that spread a little bit. Maybe see if you can get that feeling to spread down your legs, up into your torso, just kind of noticing and really feeling just that grounded feeling. Yeah. And as you do, just kind of, again, noticing your body, I want you to look over to the right. And I just want you to see what happens to that grounded feeling. Does it seem to increase, decrease, or maybe it stays the same?
It almost feels like a shift, like I feel more grounded on the right side, and the left side feels like it's lifting up a little bit,
Okay.
like lightening.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So we know how it feels over there. Then go ahead and look straight ahead. And let's see what you notice.
So again, the left side grounds a little bit more, but the right is still feels more grounded, and I feel pulled backwards a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good noticing. Okay. And then let's try looking over at the left.
That feels more balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Even like forward, backward, right, and left. It just feels more centering and balanced.
Okay. I like that. And then what happens when you take your gaze up about maybe 2 to 4 inches?
Um, I just feel a little wobbly, but still centered.
Okay.
Just a little wobbly from it.
Yeah. Okay. And then what happens when you look 2 to 4 inches down?
So when I was looking up, the wobbliness felt like from my hips.
Mm-hmm.
Looking down, it's the same amount of like wobbling, I guess. I don't know, that's a weird word, but more from my shoulders.
Okay.
So it just flip-flopped.
Yeah, a little bit of an energy shift there. And where would you say on this side that you feel the most balance when you're looking up, straight
When
across,
I'm
or
just looking
down?
straight across.
Okay,
Mhm.
beautiful. So what we're going to do is we're going to process from that spot because I want you to feel the most grounded and knowing that you can always come back to your hips, that you can always find a grounding sensation in your hips, even if things get a little bit uncomfortable or if you need to just check in. If you start to feel a little bit disconnected, checking in with the hips, knowing that that's there for you as you process.
Okay.
Okay, so
Yep.
I'm gonna look back straight across. And as you do, I want you to just start to bring in those thoughts and that disappointment with yourself for the choices that you made and kind of the pattern that you get stuck in with knowing that this is the choice I want to make, but feeling like just can't seem to make it. And as you bring that back into your awareness, do you notice anything else in your body?
Um, I feel like an aching across the middle of my back, like
Mm,
horizontally.
yeah. So let's just notice that and just follow that. And let's see what else comes up or where it takes you. And as you're processing this, we're going to talk a little bit less just so that you can really access what your body has for you. But if you feel like you need more engagement from me, just lift up a hand so that I know that I can engage more with you, and we'll just see where it goes. But you can feel free to share at any time what you're experiencing. What are you noticing happening with that ache in your back?
It's dulled a little bit, but I feel my right shoulder being pulled downward.
Hmm. Yeah. You just bring some curiosity to that, see where it takes you.
I just got this cooling, tingly feeling coming all up from like that line in my back that felt aching, coming all up over my back and down into my fingers,
Wow.
like down my arms, over my shoulders, down my arms, and into my fingers.
Hmm.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Good noticing.
I just like feeling my eyes starting to get heavy, which is interesting to me, considering like where we started.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Like really wanting to close them.
Maybe just follow that for a minute. Yeah. And just notice what comes up as you close your eyes.
So like yellow green light that turned to red, which I
Mm-hmm.
know we've talked about seeing light before and colors.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
red really intensified.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like there's any significance to the color red?
It grew into more of like a purple toned red, which to me feels more like love, and as opposed to like a yellow toned red, which to me feels more angry. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah. I'm feeling discomfort with this spot
Mm. Where do you notice that discomfort?
in my breathing.
Mm.
My breath feels like it's becoming more shallow, like I want to look away so that I can breathe
Mm-hmm.
more.
Yeah. It might be a good time to just come back to your hips and even just noticing that grounding in your hips. And just see if that shifts anything for you. Sometimes it's when we hit that wall of discomfort that there's clearing on the other side.
See like a glowing white light,
Mm-hmm.
like pulsating, the glow.
Mm. Good breath. Really good job. What did you notice just now?
So I was curious about the light and its source.
Mhm.
And so I tracked it down and it kept jumping. And so I would jump back to where it was. Um, and it just disappeared just then when I was blinking.
Mhm. That was a really good release. Is there anything that you're seeing right now?
It's the same light moving up a little, but it's much fainter
Mhm.
and it's gone now.
And let's even check in just where we started so you can keep your gaze where it's at. But even just kind of going back to those original thoughts about the choices that you're making. Do you still notice that ache in your back?
It's a lot, it's not as intense, it's much more dull.
Mhm. Yeah. Let's check in with that spot again and just see where that takes you. Breath. And what are you noticing now?
I still see the light, just it's almost moving like how you see lights on a highway,
Mm-hmm.
like just that steady stream, consistent speed.
Yeah.
Seems like it starts in one spot though and goes either direction, up or down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm feeling conflicted, like I'm curious about it. I want to follow both directions, but I don't know what direction.
Hmm. Mm-hmm. And just follow that curiosity.
Sorry. An alarm going off.
No problem. Let's try a little something. For 3 seconds, I want you to rapidly blink your eyes. Did that shift anything with the light?
It's slowed it.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to just be moving downward.
Okay. Do you want to follow it downward?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm feeling really sleepy again right here.
Mm-hmm.
Now the light's just pulsing. It's not moving.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel any physical response to the light?
No, but I don't feel the ache in my back anymore.
Okay. And Heather, go ahead and close both of your eyes. As you do, just go ahead and take a couple of deep breaths into your belly. Just bringing your awareness back into the room. Kind of finding that space in your hips that feels grounded and supported. Maybe even putting your hands on top of your legs so you can feel the weight. And wiggling fingers and toes. And when you feel ready to, you can open your eyes. Hello.
Hi.
So let's just do a little check-in
Okay.
and just kind of go back to kind of where we started with the topic of just these choices. Just feeling like I know what I want to be doing and just can't seem to do it. And before you said that you had felt that in your gut. Do you still notice it there?
A little bit.
Okay.
I think I feel more sadness now.
Hmm. Yeah.
Sadness and thinking about what um not making that choice, right? What else that is affecting. in
Mm.
my life, and just kind of that ripple effect, and it makes me feel like this sadness for my kids.
Mm.
So instead of just disappointment, now it's just kind of this sorrow because it's not just the choice to not get up, but then, you know, what else that affects.
Mm. Yeah.
It's interesting how that, you know, feeling, how that emotion shifted.
Hmm.
I don't know that I felt sadness about it before or sorrow about it before. Disappointment always, anger and frustration, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It almost sounds like there's more acceptance for yourself with the sadness versus the disappointment and the
Right.
anger, which feel more heavy of judgment. But this feels more like acceptance and, yeah, just that real sorrow that you're speaking of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a beautiful shift.
Mm. It feels better. I mean, like, not that sorrow and sadness feels good, but it feels better. It feels like almost like hope, right? Like that there's the possibility, there it feels more doable.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. What do you think about like hope? I'm like, this is doable. And I don't have to be disappointed or frustrated or angry with myself. Like,
But then I feel, I don't know, like I don't want to allow myself to feel so much hope because then I
mm,
think it allows for more disappointment.
wow. Yeah.
Like
Have
if
you,
you already know what to expect of yourself, then it's easier, right? You're not letting yourself down any more than you've already let yourself down.
yeah.
But then when you add hope in and possibility, it's more of a risk.
Yeah. What do you feel like you'd be risking?
Failure, I mean, which I've always had a fear of failure,
Mm.
wanting to like that perfectionism and then the self-sabotage because I would rather cause myself to fail than not reach the level of success that or what I view as success or what I've created as success.
Yeah.
So instead of allowing myself the opportunity to reach the goals that I've set for myself,
Hmm.
I self sabotage so that I can't fail or so that I'm the cause of the failure.
Yeah. That makes so much sense.
And maybe that's a part of it, right? Like if I work out and I don't lose weight or I don't feel more comfortable in my body, well, then I've failed, failed.
Yeah.
And so, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and get that extra hour of sleep.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make me feel better.
Right. But that's the confirmation bias right there of like, let me confirm that I am indeed going to fail.
Hmm.
So let me just go ahead and set myself up for that. And then guilt myself and shame
Hmm.
myself when I do the thing that I thought I would do.
Hmm.
And that's a deep neurological pathway that you have in
Well,
there.
and I know for me that that is lifelong. I mean, for as long as I can remember in not just this situation, but
Hmm.
you know, a lot of aspects of my life I've self-sabotaged because I'm going to have control.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so much good stuff. So
But
much good stuff.
I did just kind of have this thought of like, it's not like I've never gotten up early to work out. And I know that every time I do, I feel it's so good. I feel I accomplish so much more in the day. I'm a happier mom, you know,
Yeah.
I do more with my kids. And so I just want to break through this barrier that I've got that just makes it such a struggle for me to just get to that point because I know when I do, I feel good. And
Mhm.
I've gotten to a place in my working out that I listen to my body. It's not like I'm in pain working out or I'm, like it's not a miserable experience.
Yeah.
It's just the getting up to get to that point.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's frustrating. The barrier is frustrating.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
But you've
my
peeled
earbuds
back.
just died. Hold on. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, my earbuds just died.
Oh
Glad we're at the end of the session.
no. Yes, we're almost done. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's interesting that, what we know about the confirmation bias and like those kind of loops, they feed on frustration and anger and disappointing yourself and like just those real negative emotions, those keep those fueled. But when you have a conflicting emotion like hope or having like just even a shift that maybe even isn't called hope, but just a different way of seeing it, even sadness, like introducing new feelings into that experience that's been looping your whole life. That's what helps to heal and kind of slow that down so that you can start to work on those roadblocks and work on those barriers. Because the barriers that you're perceiving to be the barrier and the issue, it's so much deeper than that, right? Like you already found that it's rooted in that fear of success and that fear of failure, like having both. And so using brain spotting, we can find where that's stored and we can continue to peel back the layers of that so that when there is no fear of failure, there is no barrier, right? So it's just
Right.
working our way down to that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think especially this week, just even noticing that feeling of hope and seeing if it pops up in other places too. And just starting to like recognize that, especially if you can embody it and just even like notice, oh, I feel like a little bit lighter as I think about that, or just even catching it, or catching moments of sadness that feel similar to this in your body. And just noticing that, and
Right.
just even saying to yourself, I feel sad, and that's okay. Or I feel hope, and that's okay. Because even hope can be threatening,
Right.
especially when it's been a trauma loop for so long. Even that hope, as you've discovered, is like, well, I'm afraid of that. That's threatening to me. So,
Hmm.
starting to really extend that acceptance even further because you've already extended it way beyond where it was when we started. So, just continuing to extend that acceptance to yourself of wherever you're at. Oh, I didn't get up and work out again. And that's okay.
Right.
And just cutting off that feedback loop, even if it's like, well, no, it's not okay. Because
Right.
I wanted to do this thing. I did it again. But instead of going that route, just nope, don't even. That's okay.
Just changing that internal dialogue.
Exactly. Because that's the fuel that it's looking for is
Hmm.
that beratement, that disappointment, that frustration. And if you don't fuel it, you change it. And
Right.
it has to shift, it has to go somewhere else. And that energy will shift. And that's a big part of how we heal.
I feel excited right now.
Yeah.
I feel good.
Good.
I've experienced lots of emotions in this session.
Well, and it's funny because the things that you're noticing, the ache in your back, like the pit in your stomach, like that washing over down your arms and into your hands, like all of that energetic flow is happening 24/7,
Right.
nonstop.
Crazy.
That's happening for you. We just brought it up into your awareness and gave you the space for you to notice what's happening. But that's going on all the time. And wouldn't it be amazing if that wasn't happening all the time?
Then what would we do with our lives?
What would you do? You'd have so much more energy.
I'd get up and work out.
Probably. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much for just being you and for just being willing to explore these feelings and being open to hope and possibility. I know that can be a big step. You really can. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.